Hey, man. Okay, back in 1994, this one we gonna call the Jack Get Back. You know what I mean? Attempted Jack Get Back. So, hey, I had helped this partner out of mine. This dude was a cold dude, man. This dude was gangster for real. You know what I mean? This dude used to rob banks and shit. Up there in Alaska, he would put on Jerry curl wigs and baseball caps. He was a short-haired brother, but he'll put a bald-head brother or something. Not bald, but fade or something like that. And he'll put on wigs and everything and sunglasses and everything, going there robbing banks. You know what I mean? Back in the day, like, damn, in the 80s. This is like, damn, if this nigga knew how to rap in the 80s and the early 90s. If this dude knew how to rap, he would have been killing it. You know what I mean? Yeah. But this is the people I grew up around. You know what I mean? It's my family, kinda. This is my family. I used to hang out with his older brother. I used to hang out with his older brother. Me and Felipe used to hang out with his older brother. Me and Byron. When I was a kid, what was I doing with these old ass niggas? And each of these niggas is they somebody. All these dudes, everybody I talk about is pretty much somebody, man. So anyways, me and I look out for the dude. I go pick him up from jail. He calls me up. I pick him up from jail. I put a little something in his pocket and everything. I don't know about, and go take him wherever he need to go. I think to a hotel and everything. Put a little something in his pocket. Picked him and he grabbed his broad up or something like that. Took him to a motel or something. Dropped him off. Right after he went, I picked him up from Eagle River back when they used to have guys and girls out there. Like a couple months later, after he get out, maybe 2-3 months later, somebody come trying to rob me. They got stockings and shit and all this shit over their face. They knock on the door. I open the door. They bum rush me. They got the guns and shit. You know what I mean? I fight the niggas off. I got about 5,500 in my pocket that I just made. You know what I mean? Before I made go make a deposit, I got about 55 on me. They don't know. I'm fighting them off. I wrestle with them just to get back, and I make it back to another room. Put my foot in front of the door. You know how you put your foot in the door and stuff like that. While I'm doing that, I'm reaching on the ground and I grabbed up some roll-up socks. Like some socks. Lucky my room was a mess. So there was lucky for real. There was some stuff laying all around. So I grabbed up some socks, put it in the socks, like a match, it's a match or something like that, and threw it back in there, throw it on the ground, just with all and let it blend in with a bunch of junk. And then I let them hey, let them in, like, I don't know, after fighting them off real good. and then eventually I let them off, yeah, like what? Yeah. And then, so no, I don't got nothing, so now they got the guns on me. I think me and Tony Hefner was there. Yeah. Rest in peace, Tony. And and then they wait a minute. So I'm telling them, I'm like, okay, look, they threatening me. I'm like, you know what, man? I got plenty money in the bank, man. I'll take you to the bank. So I take them to the bank. I guess we need gas or something. We stop, get gas. I run off. They run off. So that was the end of that. But then I go like, hey, where does dude live? I go find out. I'm going driving around. I'm asking around where he is. We find some people we know. You know what I mean? Find out he over old school gangster out of San Francisco. That old school gangster out of San Francisco's house. You know what I mean? Hey, me, OJ from Fairbanks, Killer, Corvell Sutton from the Pretty Boy Gangsters, Tony Hefner from Ohio. You know what I mean? Or was it Iowa? Yeah. Me, him. I don't remember who else. I apologize if I left anybody out. We had a caravan with weaponry. You know what I mean? Yeah, there's people that know there. OJ was there. Like I said, OJ, Killer, Tony Hefner, and I was there for sure. And we went and found out where the dude lived. End up kicking in they dough in the house, running downstairs and finding the dude in bed, pointing the thing at him point blank range. See, I was the type. I was one of the. A lot of people don't know I was one of the first shooters in the town. I'm Raw Player Rod, man. I was in a group called the Pretty Boy Gangsters. You know what I mean? It was ugly, yeah. Things, yeah. But listen. I never graduated to professional gangsterism. But I was one of the first juvenile. Yeah, I was a standout juvie gangster. You know what I mean? I didn't graduate to shooting folks, but I was quick to shoot. I was willing to shoot somebody quickly. I didn't mind that. That was a thing I was real cool with. I didn't mind doing that. I was trying to shoot somebody at that age. I was, yeah. Anyways, I would go there. I would go anywhere you wanted to go with it. I would take it anywhere you wanted to take it. Yeah. Anyways, man, I can run fast and fight. Yeah, that means if you're fighting better than me, I can outrun you. There's no way you can win. I can get away, and I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna come back and get something to whoop you with. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Or somebody to whoop you with. That's what I'll do. Yeah. And I was fast, so it's like, man, I got in fights and didn't even get hit. Hey, I ain't see. One time, as a matter of fact, when with Cole, I was with Cole and Dewan, and we had, I don't know, everybody. You know what? I love everybody in Alaska. And I loved even some people that I might have had, something might have happened. I love those people. I don't want to tell, no disrespect to these people, but, we was getting looked around for, there was some misstatements being made and stuff like that. But anyways, and I got jumped by 3 people. Years later, it was that I whooped one of them. But because they jumped me, not a single one touched me. You know what I mean? At all. But I moved out the way. And one of them tripped. I kind of pushed him and he tripped. That, you know what I mean? And one of them slipped and kind of fell a little bit and got up. But years. Yeah, that's what happened. Yeah. And Oh, by the way, in that story, see, a lot of people don't even know who I used to be. The government, I was so bad, the government, I was in that case, Colesville, who wound up turned out being the man later, you know, even though he was actually the man then. As a kid, just like I was, we was all the men. All I ever hung out was the, you know what I mean? You know how in a group there's like 5 or 10 bad, like all the motherfuckers that's the shit for their age. Every last one of them in my town was my friend. You could ask somebody. You could ask somebody. Like back in the days, breaking and popping was the shit. You know what I mean? And Derek Martin was the best at Clark. Michael Blair was the best at Windler, and Carmen Bell was the best at Central at the middle school. Guess what? These were all my best friends. Yeah, isn't that crazy? These are all my buddies and shit. It was crazy, man. That's what I mean. They were like the most popular dudes, you know. Yeah. Yeah. Shit like that. But anyways, man, so like I was saying, man, they robbed me. No, they didn't rob me. I get away. It was attempted robbery. You know, I fought them off. They tried to rough me up a little, but not much. You know, I was insulted more than anything because I'm Raw Player Rod, and even then, I was a man of many names. I was King Rod. I was going by King Rod. I swear to God. And I had real pimp partners out of Texas. You know, my partner Jeffrey Clay used to call me King Rod. I love that dude. That was my partner. We got into it. The first time we met, we got into it. Even though I think I had heard them and already liked them kind of before I met them, even though my sister used to, you know, I would hear crazy stuff, bad stuff, kind of, like, you know, but I knew different. I was a player. Like, even if that was my sister, I was like, you know, back in the days, if a chick, see, you don't know, there's alpha. You remember back in the days they made it bad to be like they called people alpha male, and that's because some of these alpha dudes wasn't that damn alpha. You know what I mean? They like people who work to be the dudes that work too hard to be alpha. They wasn't the gifted ones and the boring ones. There are some alpha dudes that they started off at the bottom and worked their way up to the top, and you got to give it to them. However, those type of dudes might be bitter because they, you know what I mean? They work so hard, and then there'll be people like me, you know what I mean? Just born gifted, just gifted, you know? Yeah, run faster than you, kick your ass, look better than you, make more money than, work harder than you, nicer than you, kinder than you, smarter than you, more spiritually developed than you. Just everything, you know what I mean? Yeah. More magnanimous than shit than you know, more altruistic than you know what I mean? Yeah, will carry you and give you a head start and try to hold you up and shit like that. Yeah, like a nigga that's the tide to lift all boats. Shit you don't even understand. Like you don't even take the risk. You don't even think that other people or other, you know, your community or your city or nation or anything like that is your responsibility or anything. You know what I mean? You know, you have the smarter and the more you're gifted, the more you almost feel like you have a responsibility to be fair and all these other things. So that's why when sometimes when you talk about people in a negative way, you say more about yourself than you do about them. What I do to you. You know what I mean? And then they'll lie on you. Don't believe anything you hear about me, because I was taking niggas. I wasn't taking they bitches. I was really trying to get, I was leaving them their bitches. I was borrowing they bitches. And you know, that don't sit well with everyone. I was pimping when they was tricking and shit like that. And then some of them later on started pimping. But I was always, you know, I might, but you can't take the fact that I was doing it 5, 10, 15 years before then. Yeah.